Thank you for joining us on Data Cloud Now, where we bring you the latest in all things data in business and industry. Today, we are covering the infinite possibilities that data is bringing to the financial sector. I'm now passing things off to our DCN correspondent in Mumbai, India, Gautam Srinivasan. Enjoy.
Thank you, Ryan. I'm Gautam Srinivasan, and welcome to Data Cloud Now. And with me now is Clarke Patterson, Senior Director for Market Intelligence at Snowflake. Clarke, thank you so much for joining us. Now, flexibility is the name of the game for a lot of customers as they embark on their multi-cloud journey. So in that context, I want to know from you first, are sort of these walled ecosystems the new silos for the enterprise?
Yeah, I think silos is a very interesting topic. You know, I've been in the data space for a very long time, and the silo conversation has always been around the data itself. And as we've moved to the cloud, there's a couple of dynamics that I think have emerged here in the context of silos. So there's definitely the data silos themselves, where it's very easy for data to reside in multiple different locations, on premises, in the cloud, and customers have to deal with that. And if they don't, it definitely is this ecosystem of silos problem. But then there's also workload silos as well, as we start to want to transform and process and analyze data in different ways. There's multiple different types of technologies that adopters look at, and that technology sprawl in and of itself can create silos too. And then the last aspect of it is we're just kind of an interconnected collaborative world nowadays, right? And that applies to data too. And more we see organizations that want to collaborate with one another across their data and their ecosystems. And if they're not doing that effectively, something that we enable in the data cloud, they find themselves in a silo in and amongst their own organization. And so it's multifaceted, and I think it's a great opportunity for Snowflake and what we're doing with the data cloud as we help companies on their journey to the cloud.
Absolutely, and taking that forward, Snowflake's products have helped customers address silos in their workloads and in their organizations, and now you're truly setting their data free by allowing it to reside wherever your customer wants it. So right. I want to know from you, what are the benefits which are unlocked for enterprises when their data is set free?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of examples that I would highlight. One is, the people want, as I kind of alluded to before, they want some flexibility in terms of how they interact with data. And so our ability to allow organizations to work on raw data directly, if they have like a data lake strategy, which is something that Snowflake supports, they can deal with that directly in its raw format in their data lake and don't have a hard requirement to move it. They can use Snowflake to go directly at that and gain a lot of value. Another very interesting scenario that I see is supporting multi-cloud strategies. And this one's kind of not so much how companies define their infrastructure in the cloud, but it's more how they enable data access and collaboration with others through multiple clouds. So you could have an organization, say, that has data on premises, and we have the ability now in Snowflake to allow an organization to access that data directly. It looks as though it's directly it's in Snowflake. That company doesn't necessarily need to be kind of cloud in its partnership with whomever owns that data on premises, but inherently that becomes a multi-cloud type of relationship instantly. Similarly, we see organizations that are on one cloud, AWS say, and they have partners and suppliers that are on different clouds from them. They don't really think of that as a multi-cloud scenario, but when they start to collaborate and unlock the benefits of sharing and collaborating across the two, it becomes a multi-cloud relationship. And so I think that's very, very interesting.
Absolutely. Now, every industry has specific needs, and you have specific versions of your data platform tailored for retail, media, healthcare, finance. So yep. I want to hear from you stories of early adopters when they use these specific versions.
Yeah. So we have this notion of an industry data cloud. We have financial services, retail data clouds, as you alluded to, and it's a new way for organizations to solve industry-wide problems. And I think the thing that I would touch on before, kind of in an example, is how it's helping companies transform how they solve core business process challenges that they've been struggling with for years, frankly. In the old world, it kind of comes back to the silos again, you would look at solving an industry problem or an industry solution in the context of your business, right? So maybe you're trying to fix a supply chain problem, and it was always very much around just your unique organization, and it was okay, but it only got you so far, and it limited the benefit that you could get through your partners and suppliers and others. through the Industry Data Cloud, because it's very collaborative in nature, we're actually taking the concept of solving industry solutions from an individual organization out to the industry itself, right? So we can start to say, like, how could we transform customer relationship management? How could we transform fraud and things like that? And really do it through the lens of the ecosystem within that industry, which clearly benefits the individual customers within that segment, but we can start to think about how they're starting to solve problems in ways that they couldn't before for the benefit of everyone.
Absolutely, and we have just scratched the surface. I want to know from you, how are cloud journeys going to evolve from here on, especially in the context of improving data pipelines and resource efficiency?
One of the main advantages of the Snowflake Data Cloud and helping companies with their journey to the cloud is simplifying the amount of effort involved in pipelines themselves. You can conceivably think of pipelines as benefiting from not having to move data, because it's inherently connected across the multiple different stakeholders that live in the Snowflake ecosystem. And so that, when you don't have to transform, you don't have to move, data is instantly available in the Snowflake Data Cloud, you obviously are driving an instant efficiency, right? So you're taking steps out of the processes in its entirety. And I think we're going to see more and more organizations that tap into the data that exists in the ecosystem that they live in the Snowflake Data Cloud. And that's going to proliferate efficiencies across pipelines for more and more companies.
Right. Now, simplicity, flexibility, and sharing, those have been the three key advantages of Snowflake. So for all our viewers, what's going to be the next competitive advantage for Snowflake?
Well, I'll give you two. I think there's multi-cloud and cross-cloud would be the first one, and applications would be the second. And I think the multi-cloud, cross-cloud is very interesting, again, from a Snowflake standpoint, where we are quite literally delivering a single experience platform regardless of how organizations want to build and define their cloud infrastructure underneath. So you might say, hey, look, for various reasons, I need to be on AWS and Azure, and I need to be deployed here in Mumbai, and maybe I need to be in the West Coast in the United States as well. You can go and do that in any kind of variation of where Snowflake resides. You can go and do that, and the experience is exactly the same when someone comes and interacts with Snowflake. And so I think that's very, very interesting, and it's absolutely unique characteristic of Snowflake in the Data Cloud, is that it's that single experience. What that lends to is this kind of second area that I think is exciting for me is apps, and we're seeing more and more organizations are just becoming data-driven. Applications are inherently data-driven and data-enabled. And Snowflake is becoming a de facto place where companies are using us as the backbone for building their modern data-driven applications. And of course, they can host and deploy and monetize those things directly in the Snowflake Data Cloud. We're at just the tip of the iceberg in that regard, and I think we're going to see some very exciting things happening in the apps world.
All right, that's the perfect segue for my last question. I want to ask you, what excites you the most about data-driven change in businesses around the world?
I think it kind of goes back to what I was saying around the industry data clouds. It's looking at problems in different ways. I think we have an opportunity through collaboration, through getting our arms around more data, through instant access to resources and compute and infrastructure, that we can try things and kind of like try and deploy and find solutions to things way more rapidly than we could before, right? And that's totally enabled by the cloud. And of course, Snowflake in the cloud and this connected ecosystem allows us to do that in a very collaborative way. We can, when I try to solve a problem by myself and you try to solve a problem by yourself, we can get so far, but if we collectively come together, we could probably do things that maybe we didn't realize before. And we're really enabling that, and I think that's very exciting. We're going to see the data cloud enable across all industries into the future.
Absolutely. Lots of exciting developments coming up. So watch out for this space, and remember, increasing the value of your data ecosystem by giving you more control. That's how customers benefit with Snowflake Cloud. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us here on Data Cloud Now. Thank you so much. And of course, thank you to our viewers for tuning in. Stay tuned. We've got lots more lined up here at the Data Cloud World Tour India series.